Hi, I'm Chef Frank. This is Proto Cooks, and today we're going to make pan con tomate. Pan con tomate is a Spanish tomato bread. I just got back from Spain not too long ago, and it is absolutely delicious. You see it everywhere. I've been making pan con tomate for a few years now. I worked in a Spanish restaurant, so it's one of those things that I've developed my own method for, and I'm going to show you that method today. Okay? The bread we're going to use is just a baguette, a simple baguette. Nothing complicated. I usually find the sturdier the bread, the better. Not like a cheap, fluffy baguette. You want to get a decent one. And you have two choices here. You can grill it or you can broil it. Today, I don't have the grill on, so I'm going to broil it. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is get the bread ready. I'm just going to slice it in half lengthwise. Okay? You don't necessarily need a bread knife if you have a really sharp knife. Just be really careful. I cut it in half lengthwise and expose the inside of the bread, right? This works with bread that's a day old or a couple days old. Old bread works for this as well, so it's a really great way to use up your old bread, okay? So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take this bread and I'm just going to throw it into the broiler. While that bread toasts, I'm going to show you how to prepare the tomatoes. Traditionally with this, you would take the tomato, cut it in half, and then when the bread comes out of the broiler, you rub it with oil and garlic, and then you rub the tomato on. I do it a little differently. I like to get as much usage out of the tomato as possible. So I do it different by grating the tomato, and I'll show you how I do this. Cut all my tomatoes in half, right? I get a container, I get my grater, and I grate my tomatoes all the way down to the skin. And once the skin is there, I throw it away, okay? I'm gonna do a couple more. I'll show you what I get when I do that. Okay? So you're getting all the tomato pulp, the seeds and the juice. You get a lot of tomato goodness with this, okay? So I grate all the tomatoes. And I usually just grate the tomatoes when I need them, right? I don't like putting this in the fridge because you never really want to put tomatoes in the fridge. So I usually grate the tomatoes when I need them. So I'm going to make this toast really soon. So I grate the tomatoes and make the toast right after I grate them. Okay? There's another component here is garlic and olive oil. And you don't want the garlic to be overpowering, but you're going to use a little bit of raw garlic, okay? And I'll show you how that works in a sec, right? So there I go. I have my tomatoes and the pulp. Shake this off, put it in the sink. Right, dry this up. Got my tomato pulp. If you look at it, it's beautiful. It's a little watery, but what you'll do is you'll mix this up before you put it on the bread, okay? And then I'm just gonna I have a little extra virgin olive oil. In this case, extra virgin is perfect. You want the flavor of the extra virgin olive oil. When you get this tomato bread in Spain, it's a lot of olive oil on it, okay? And then garlic. I have 1 clove of garlic. And for those 4 pieces of bread, I don't need a lot more. And all I'm gonna do is peel it and leave it whole. Okay, so you peel it, you leave it whole, and after that, we'll wait for the bread, and once the bread is ready, I'll show you how to finish this. So my bread is out of the oven. I get a nice dark toast. I like it a little dark. If I was going onto the grill, I would get a nice char on it, okay? First thing I need to do is take a piece of that garlic, and I'm just gonna rub this garlic on my bread, right? So the bread acts kind of like its own little grater, and I rub it all around. I make sure that I get it all around, right? Rub the garlic. You can see that it's kind of getting on my bread. Right, the center is still a little soft, okay? Rub my garlic all around. Okay, garlic, garlic, garlic. Good. Garlic gets rubbed around, and then I'm gonna add some oil. Like I said earlier, extra virgin olive oil. And this is actually going to not only flavor the bread, but it's gonna protect the bread a little too. From getting too soggy, because the tomatoes have a lot of juice in them. So I want the bread to get a little soggy from the tomatoes, but I don't want it to sog out so much that it's gross, okay? And then I get my tomato pulp and I put it all over my bread. Tomato pulp. Look at that. Makes me happy. So it's a little different than traditional pan con tomate. Usually they rub the tomatoes on. Here I like to get a lot of use out of the tomatoes. I get a lot more tomato flavor on my bread. This is definitely a different version of that, just for the fact that when you get it in Spain, it's normally just like a smear of tomato. I like a little more tomato flavor on mine. The tomatoes that I use are actually called cumados or brown tomatoes. I love them. I think they're delicious. And they're usually good all year round. It's usually you don't get great tomatoes, especially up in the Northeast during the winter. So the cumados are usually a pretty good option, okay? So now I got my tomatoes on there, I have my olive oil, and then salt. You need a hefty dose of salt. I'm using kosher, okay? Kosher salt has big flakes. It looks like I'm using a lot, but I'm not. It's gonna season this up perfectly. If you want, you can use fancier sea salt. You can use Malden sea salt or sea salt with big crystals. I just like to use regular salt. And now all I'm gonna do is chop it up, okay? Cool, oh, almost lost it. Chop it up, rough chop. It doesn't need to be beautiful or fancy, okay? We just want it to look appetizing, right? Okay. Now, what I normally serve with this, in the back I have some other stuff, right? So we're kind of doing a little bit of tapas, right? So almost always you'll see some sort of tomatoes, not tomatoes, some olives with your tomato bread, and then I have some sardines. And you can't get great cured sardines like you can in Spain, but these are just canned smoked sardines with some extra virgin olive oil and some smoky sea salt on them. And that's what we're gonna have for dinner tonight, a simple dinner with pan con tomate. If you like this video, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and until next time, I'm Chef Frank with Proto Cooks. See you soon.